Ian Garry just did an interview, and he said, and I quote, "I promise you I'm fighting Wonder Boy next. It's going to be one for the ages, a striking battle, and I hope that it's 5 rounds." Now, I just want to break that down a little bit. Like, I would give Ian Garry room. I just would. You got an accent and someone's asking you questions, not to mention you're live. All the time, people will say something that have to speak a lot and run it back and go, you took me a little bit too literally, or it's not quite what I meant there. I mean, in all fairness, I would give him some room. I just don't have that ability right now because I just saw the interview. So, very fascinating. Ian Garry's red hot. He is red hot. I was in Boston. I saw the press conference where he stole the show in many ways. I saw the walkouts, I saw the entrances, I saw the cameos, I saw the post-fight, I saw the return to the locker room, where he stole the show in many ways. He didn't outshine the star and Sugar Sean, but I'm telling you, Ian Garry, it was a big deal. He held an open workout on Friday evening. So to put that in perspective for you, the weigh-ins are Friday morning, the ceremonial weigh-in, Friday evening. Even after that, Ian Garry is in a bar doing an open workout, of which the police came in and shut it down. I mean, like, this guy was on the clock. This guy was full-time. This guy who's a young kid is getting ready to take on a veteran in Neil Magny. I mean, there was a lot on this to watch the pressures, to watch the support, to watch the media, to watch the attention, to watch all of these things that he went out and performed under, and then he called out Wonder Boy. Now, what's so interesting about this is in the interview, and I'm going to quote him again, Ian Garry said, "Wonder Boy's next, I promise. I hope that it's 5 rounds." Now, Ian Garry, who's red hot and does understand this game, for him to go and do an interview and waste a moment on a fight that we, the public, have already heard isn't going to happen. I mean, Ian Garry called for this fight in the ring, and by the time we got to the post-fight press conference, Dana said, no, Wonder Boy has turned it down. Now, I get where no, Wonder Boy has turned it down is the beginning of a fight. I fully do understand that. But let me paint a perspective for you guys, okay? Wonder Boy weigh-ins Michelle Pierre. Michelle misses weight. The show must go on being the golden rule. Now, Wonder Boy's there. His team's there. He's sucked down. The weight's been cut. The training's in. Whatever friends or family that he's got in that flew in and bought tickets, I mean, right, I can only imagine. They're staring him in the face, letting him know, whether they use the words or just the body language, we want you to go on with this event. We don't want to stagger and shuffle our entire card. And Wonder Boy still had the courage to say no. No, this is not what was agreed on. I am getting my bag. I am going home. And everything in between, including the people that came out to support me, we'll have to figure it out from here. But this was not the deal. And I'm just suggesting that would take a courage. Can we all agree? Like, that would be a hard thing to do. You ever been peer pressured? I have not. I'm too tough for it. But I've seen peer pressure, and I think that you guys know what it is. Imagine the peer pressure that was put on Wonder Boy, and he still stood up to it. Versus his manager gets a text message and offer him a match, and he's like, tell him no. Doing something else. Right? I mean, just imagine those two. I feel if there's anything that we've learned from Wonder Boy with the weight debacle and the removal of his placement on the card against Michelle, like, if there's anything we've learned from Wonder Boy, he's a little bit stubborn. When he says he's going to do something or not do something, it feels as though we've got our answer, let's move on because we're not going to change his mind. It would just feel. At the same time, I don't believe somebody as hot as Ian Garry would waste a spot. And it's a very peculiar one. I mean, Ian Garry called this a striking battle for the ages. That seems a bit embellished to me. He also said, I wish or hope that this is a 5-round fight. I love that. That means he wants to be a main event, but that's not a main event of a pay-per-view where Garry has found himself. So now you're talking about coming off of pay-per-view to find yourself into a main event. The only way that it can be 5 rounds. I mean, I'm adding to this like this is just a young kid that's out there working. He's doing the best that he can. He's out there managing stuff up, but he threw in the word promise. And so I'm taking it a little bit more seriously than perhaps I should. But I haven't seen Ian Garry burn a moment on a mic yet. He says he's fighting Wonder Boy. He says it's next. Says it's going to be great. Says it's going to be one for the ages. Hopes it's 5 rounds, didn't commit to it, but he did promise. And that is very interesting to me. He didn't throw out multiple names. Threw out a promise. Says it's Wonder Boy. What do you think?